Hi, I'm Cassandra Atherton, Senior Editor at Spineless Wonders and Judge of the Joanne Burns Microlit Award. Each year we publish an anthology of over 40 microlit by invited authors as well as finalists in the award. The theme for 2022 is travel, and to celebrate the release of the anthology of the same name, we held an online event featuring readings by many of the contributors, and it was a great night. So fabulous. In case you missed it, here are the highlights from the event. We hope you enjoy watching these author videos. If you would like the chance to be included in the 2023 anthology on the theme Play, you have until August 31 to enter the Joanne Burns Microlit Award. Go to www.shortaustralianstories.com.au. I would love to read your microlit. Bye for now.
We wait. Birds swoop and swing past, pausing to crap on the head of a heroic statue of Louis XIV. Louis's bronze stallion flicks its tail coquettishly, ungelded and elaborately ribboned, easily upstaging its royal master. Fat grey pigeons cluster along window tops. The unexpected swoop of a pointed-winged seagull. Large crows bitterly voice their eternal complaints. An occasional tern flicks past. With a piece of paper in my jeans pocket, hoping that my 48-hour museum pass still works. The line creeps forward in a slow shuffle. 9 steps, 11, eventually the excitement of 27. Children chatter excitedly. Adults pull food out of paper bags, scan their phones while snacking. Neither activity seems to bring much pleasure. The slow pattern of the line recurs. 3, 9, 11. Overhead, an immense blue sky. 5, 6, 7. The gates are much closer now. Finally, a magnificent golden fence, decorated at the top with scallop shell motifs and crowns, looms up out of the densely packed cobblestones. It's a perfect symbol of wealth and class, a gilded barrier that still divides our world. When the line pushes up against the fence, I notice that the gold paint is flaking off in places.
At Yotsia Station. Half the platform is under construction, and the other half is full of commuters. It's unsettlingly quiet, no crying kids or adults yelling into phones. I tug up my shoulder bag, it's going to snap under the weight of my books soon. I've been eyeing an 80,000 yen backpack in the atre at Matsudo. It's a bit dear, but it's not like the money's mine. I start to the right, trying not to get jostled by the flow of people all heading somewhere. I glance between my phone and the ground in front of me, but I've lost signal. I should have gotten a roaming SIM card, but even the trains have free Wi-Fi here. I climb the stairs and break into open air, cloying heat on my skin, thoughts on the fan tucked away in my pocket. It's only then that my phone lets me know, very helpfully, I've taken the wrong exit. I'm on the opposite side of the huge station. If I had any confidence, I would turn around and head back into the throng, but I haven't seen my mum in months, and I let the crowd carry me the wrong way.
P.S. Cottier, not so gnomic. Why drag us into air when we love earth, prefer the dank cave, the spade in hand, and the plenitude of worm? We don't care for the jolly photos you send home with our pegged cats touching Mont Blanc, or carefully replicating that metal prong of the famous French tower. We would return to our own small plot, stay stolid and quiet, awakening at night to feast on slumbering fairies and quaint snails, to train toads and smoke pipes packed with pungent toadstool. No, we don't want to sway New Orleans. Ubud holds no charm for our concrete feet and minds.
Thank you to Spineless Wonders and to Cassandra Atherton for including my microlit among a wealth of exceptional writing in the travel anthology. I'm situated on the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and I pay my respect to First Nations elders past and present. One day while I was walking, it was early evening and I was walking in my local park, I noticed a handbag without its owner. This sight disturbed me. It disturbed my creative writing mind more than anything else, but it led to a number of actions, including writing, "He texted party at the creek," which is a purely fictional account. Among the urban parkland of lanky eucalypts, arterial creek beds holding streams of tears, the stew of grass, soil, and bug, there lies a black dining handbag on the park's one and only tree stump. For 3 days and 2 nights, the bag made the hardwood its bed. The bag looks spent and tired, but still intact, despite its evident malnourishment. Its metallic gold chain snakes towards the earth. Its clasp locks the story in the pockets with the dried mascara and cracked lip gloss. Mothers who believe in tradition and modesty gift exquisite handbags for dining to their daughters when they become a certain age for dating. If a bag is liked, it can become the all-knowing friend, sitting on your laptop from one train stop to another, or in a taxi swerving through amber lights. A sturdy bag stays put at your feet while you move your upper body to a siren song played on digital piano. It will stay open for you to find the card for the hot pot and bubble tea for you and your man who can't find his wallet tonight, and it will try to hide your phone before it gets smashed. Thank you.
Bedroom is the last stamp on your passport. Across your chest, down the length of your skin and bone, the weight of feathers. You are pinned. Butterfly, bird, chrysalis. Must we all desire flight, new horizons? You can see all the way to the end of your bed, and this is far enough. Close one eye, and your nose is a mountain, the world at its summit. Take a bath, they say, a lengthy lavender soak in the claw-footed tub. Listen to your heart beat, beat, beat yourself up. Get outside, they say, breathe the air of the seasons. Take the air, take it with you. You know, without getting up, where your shoes are. Your featherlight, stop your carry-on. Were it not for border control, you would travel far, all the way to the kitchen, to look out the window at the lengthening grass. It is spring, time for passport renewal. If you manage to crawl beetle height, nose to earth, is this not enough? Expedition highlight, ladybird. Travel light, taking only air.
My name is Anne Elvey, and I'm making this video today on Boonwurrung country. My prose poem, Walking, is set during a visit to Briarcoolong country, part of the Gurnai-Kurnai Nation in Stratford, Victoria. Walking. Graze of earth and breath exposes tender viscera as I pace a quiet town. Accounts speak along each other's tracks. Above the Avon, I read of students working for waterways repair. Rough bunions and hollows declare that these red gums at the edge of streets predate colonial print, surviving plough, axe, trudge, and bite of brine. A sugared trail has nesting holes, river views, and red-browed finches foraging. I pass a school, a Shakespeare pub, the monument for Macmillan, positioned at the meeting of three roads, explorer, pioneer, inscribed in stone, words mask knowledge of massacres. They are told in a nearby park, on a board speaking welcome to country. Reports of children and church lie open on my notebook, while I walk beside a stir of leaves. Overbent course of trust, bridges toppled are remade. A diesel slows. Timbers sound across my settlerdom. The breeze does not collude. I find my place in a text where unstitched stories are sutured to scar. Thank you.
The tourists have arrived. They are wearing functional shoes, multi-pocket accessories, and glazed expressions. The journey was long, the seats narrow, the food salty, but they are filled with purpose, eager to immerse themselves into critical, corrective missions. They are among us and easy to spot. Look out for this telling trait. They are flustered, conspicuously more so than you or I. There is no guarantee, you see, of landing in this precise moment again. Allowed only limited time, they move quickly, they make phone calls and amends. They are doing, they are undoing, hoping each subtle change will exponentially increase their future happiness. With an invested interest in the tourist's safe return, their future selves cheer silently from the blurred lines between the realms of here and there, now and then. Those of us stuck in the ubiquitous present moment must take heed, as we are constantly reminded, yet carelessly ignore. The time, our time, is now. Of course, we could take a chance, wait for our invitation to travel. But it may never come.
Oh no, the retirement village club's arranged another bus trip, Jean said to Barb. What's wrong with that? Lockdown's lifted. I'm looking forward to a trip to the coast and going to Pammy's Pie Shop for lunch. But Barb, don't you remember last year's fiasco when Arthur and Jenny snuck off to a motel for you know what? What? You know. No, I don't know. I wouldn't be asking if I did, would I? Well, a bit of the other. The other what? Yes. Yes? Yes? I don't know what you mean. Text? They texted somebody. No, to have, text. Have you suddenly developed a lisp? No, I just don't want to say it. Say what, for heaven's sake? You haven't actually said a thing. I'm telling you, I won't travel with people indulging in quoits. Why not? I play quoits with my grandkids. It's a good game. Relations, then. What's wrong with my relations? They're no worse than yours. No, Jenny and Arthur's relations. I don't know any of them. No, having them. If I don't know them, why would I have them over? Oh, I give up. Good. I think you need to get out more.
Hello, my name's Danielle Baldock, and I'll be reading my story from the Spineless Wonders Travel Anthology. The dogs of war play frisbee in an empty hotel pool. The pool in Zadar is full of soldiers. Shouts echo of cracked blue tiles, shiver of dry cement. Heart beats like war drums. You imagine attack. All spring, echoes of war have swirled amidst the laughter on your Kentucky bus. You've skirted French battlefields, walked Mauthausen with ghosts. In Gallipoli, the cavalcades of graves are punctuated by poppies. By Yugoslavia, the bus's theme song blares out amidst crackling radio warnings and war talk over breakfast. Split and sharply struck off your schedule by shattering bombs. In Dubrovnik, you pressed your face against ancient stones, listening for whispers of nations rising and falling. The tour goes on. less laughing now. Below you, haystacks of rifles lean like bonfires amidst the sun lounges. Like uniforms run and leap. You see now they're laughing with Hecq and Kevin and Wayne, red frisbees whirling. A soldier looks up, grinning with your brother's round cheeks. You wave, inscribe his face into memory. Home, finally. You watch Yugoslavia exploding on the nightly news. Search faded newspaper photos and smoky TV flashes. Fingers tight crossed, he won't be there. But now the dogs of war play frisbee in an empty hotel pool, laughing wild against the dark.
A car, a train, a bus, a plane, tarmac, a bus, another car. 24 hours leapfrogging one nasal diphthong to another. Pink limestone monoliths, coffee treacles from gifted hands. A black station wagon waiting, my features in its gleaming flanks. Barely conscious after hourless sleep, plumped up with sticky pastry, roaring towards Valdobbiadene. Along this road I change into myself. From a duffel bag I produce he who craves a cigarette upon waking, he who wears linen and sand shoes together. Disgorged, served Prosecco, faced with a dozen long-stemmed iterations of dry to very dry to cat's bum fucking dry as fuck. Tongyong, tuba playing ex-Carabinieri rally driver mid-vineyard. He's leggermente fermented. Backwaters and byways of Zuel di qua and Zuel di la. Zanzotto is underfoot, on lips, a salivation. No one's heard of the man. A poet? Finally, Melina knew him. A depressed flirt. We toast to that. Tongyong in the evening light, black and white, glass in hand, over a dealwood table. Best photo never posted but ever taken. A profile, a cameo, for memory's locket.
Maiden voyage. The ocean undulating like an experienced lover. Dark, sad clouds wanting to merge and pleasure themselves. The sunrise craving to slip into something sexy. All three dumb expressions repeating themselves in my head like the rat-a-tat of a claw hammer. I'm the last living passenger on this maiden voyage, which ironically included only men. The cattle, sick of being sacrificed, had jumped overboard, so the crew was forced to eat each other. The last mariner, mad from guilt and shame, voluntarily walked the plank to the great applause of perched seagulls, while a billionaire in a cowboy hat floated weightlessly in space, too stupid to realize he'd eventually have to land. Meanwhile, I'm leaning over the bow, grasping a bouquet of dead roses in my sunburnt hands. I'm waiting for that previously promised maiden to present herself and prove that she was more than just a virus-driven fever dream. I'm praying for a new garden of delights and disappointments to suddenly appear on the horizon, a place where we can happily repopulate, knowing we will be dead long before our watered-down genes ruin it again.
I love hearing everybody read their work. It's something really kind of palpable and beautiful to hear the emphases where the writers and poets imagined they would be. So thank you so much to Anne, Seetha, Heather, Danielle, Paul, and Peter for submitting their amazing videos. Our next lot of videos touch on a spiritual train ride in stillness by the incredible Richard Holt. The perils of being caught out in Vegas, we've all done that surely, in COVID travel by Shady Cosgrove, prose poetry journeys with travel ban by, Quick Draw McGraw Stuart Barnes, the chaos of a car's last ride in the amazing sinking car by Sandra Renew, the pining for travel and adventure in Where Dreams Are Made Of by Gayelene Carbis, a race for space in last place by Rananda Rich, and The Low Price for Beauty and Soul in a New Safeguard by Lynette Hinings-Marshall. So take us away.
Stillness. Restless Addie does the length of the thundering train over and over, pushes through the gangway doors between the carriages. Addie's as tall as a basketballer, lanky and ageing, a difficult combination. Hunch, and she might fold like a windblown wheat stalk. Heading into Winchester, Addie's walking front to back, just as the old steam locomotive slows to a walking pace. As she pushes through past a group of sprawling songsters, Addie and the earth are together, the same patch of oil-soaked ground remaining beneath her, and only the train moving, sliding between them, like a magician's cloth. It's all relative. The earth spins and orbits, the universe expands, everything moves all the time, some way. But it's the planet that matters most. How Addie is upon it, and at that moment she is still, perhaps for the longest waking time since she was a girl. She passes all the way through to the card players in the second last carriage before the connection breaks as the train decelerates, sliding into Winchester to take on Cole.
COVID travel. I thought it was a social media post, and I was writing a brief word of encouragement. I didn't know I was buying a ticket to Vegas. Didn't know there would be trapeze artists in the hotel foyer, or I'd be dancing in tassels at the bar. That down the road Elvis and Lady Gaga would share a stage. I didn't know I'd be sitting in that plastic booth, transfixed by the endless buffet and its conveyor belt of desserts. Or that you'd blow our savings on the roulette wheel and we'd take turns begging for spare change with an empty soda cup from McDonald's. I had no idea you'd steal the officer's gun and hold it to my temple, laughing. Last October, when your first message pinged, I couldn't imagine it would trigger a series of events that would leave me stranded in Vegas for almost a year, and I'd have to strike out alone, on foot, into the desert.
Hi, I'm Stuart Barnes. The piece I'm going to read is Travel Ban. Travel Ban. Dear fellow traveller, travelling through the dark, travelling with guitar. Glad news travels fast, good light travels far, travels through the traveller heart. So travels the clear-eyed moon across the sea, somewhere I have never travelled. Tainted love travels on a tightrope at illegal speeds into several remote parts of Champagne. Born in Heartland, true love travels on a gravel road with a Count of Saint Germain. Travelled prawn, it is better to take the artery less travelled, to travel buoyantly than to arrive. Bright big handle, bright big bowl, these could be for the travelling soul. We two travelling together, traveller's palm, traveller's joy, music for moon travellers. Euphonic, ungloved traveller, your footprints have love, will travel. Star traveller, guitar traveller, travel queer, travel here.
The amazing sinking car. We're in the underpass, at the top of the bank, out of the wind, leaning back on cool cement, watching the deep swirl of current around the pylons, 12-year-old fingers pinching the butts of hand-rolled durries, silent, comfortable. A Holden Tirana, baby ship brown, blue trim, ugly as, comes down the embankment beside us, doors and boots swinging open, headlights on, so fast it leaves the ground on the cliff edge, launches out over the water, angles head down, dives for the bottom. teddy bear in the rear window, swings and waves. Air bubbles stream to the surface, some sounding like rushing wind, others hesitant, emerging in slow gulps and glottal burps. Headlights burn, then dim and disappear as the last glimpse of chrome bumper vanishes. We sit, frozen in the moment, not reacting, cigarettes burning down to our skin, eyes on the river and the amazing, flying, vanishing car. Then above us, on the road, a scuffle of boots on gravel, voices coming loud, then soft in the wind. Mate, do you think anyone saw us? Yeah, no, yeah, don't think so. Mate, do you think the water will wash off our fingerprints? Yeah, no, yeah, mate, dunno.
The title of this piece is Where Dreams Are Made Of, and references a song by Alicia Keys called Empire State of Mind. Where Dreams Are Made Of. These times now are hard and harsh. I wake each morning with the thought of groundlessness. That table, this desk, might not fit into some unknown future, some place I might have to take off to because I won't be able to live any longer here. I remember other times. I remember flourishing. I remember saying to someone, I feel this sense of expansion. How I wasn't dehydrated, but thirsty and full. How there was this flowering. I travelled, I took off. I was in Athens, I was in Delphi. I met women from all over the world at an International Women Playwrights Conference. Even here in the city, in Melbourne, for a whole week, a workshop, librettists and composers all sitting together at one long table. And I met a woman there that took me to Alice Springs for the opera we worked on. And then later, a scholarship flew me to Banff to write poetry. At midday today, I put on the television, and while the rest of the world was watching the presidential debate, I watched Manhattan, which made me cry and long for all the places I have and haven't been.
Last Place by Rananda Rich. Bertie, in 7th place, wondered how his garden and IT servers at home were holding up against irritating bugs. First placed Adam, meanwhile, realised he loved Evelyn. This magnificent prize, he announced to disappointed supporters, becomes a punishment if I win. Bryony, second, choked up when she was disqualified 2 weeks later. Tearfully, she said, I am delighted to be pregnant. The remaining 5 candidates completed the invasive medical round. Oncology doctors removed the malignant lump from Dylan's testicles, though this removed him from the running too. Harry failed the psychological tests, causing a furore about mental wellness discrimination. 3 contestants remained, including Bertie. The 6-month endurance round took place on the surface of Hawaii's volcanoes. Jenny was eliminated 1 month in when she failed to properly seal her survival dome. 2 candidates emerged intact in mind, body, and capability from the ordeal, according to Jim, or paradise, according to Bertie. Jim's unfortunate comment sealed the winner. Where aptitude is the same, attitude makes the difference at altitude, the press release read. Bertie commented, as the first citizen chosen to live on Mars, I look forward to pest-free gardening and unlimited space for my IT servers.
I'm Lynette Hinings-Marshall, and I will read my non-fiction flash piece called A New Safeguard. Hot sands burn my bare feet as I peer at pale silhouettes of bathers in the shallow waters far from shore. I walk into the water toward them until the four women, all in white, back away. "Annyeonghaseyo," say. They stop, they giggle and drop their gaze. When one responds, "Annyeonghaseyo," I move closer. Each girl is wearing a white, long-sleeve muslin shirt and long, white muslin pants that cling to her wet, petite body. Tiny hands are clad in white cotton gloves. Most surreal is that each holds a white umbrella over her head to protect perfect high cheekbones that whisper a Mongol ancestry. For the 2 years I lived in Seoul, I benefited financially from this determination by Korean women to safeguard their beauty. Every Monday morning, I'd walk up to the 3rd floor of a building on Myeongdong for a 1-hour ginseng facial. This cost the ridiculously low sum of $14 and included rose hibiscus tea in the cozy lobby afterward. Today, the same treatment 40 kilometers away cost me $100. I would happily pay this, but current lockdown rules in Melbourne restrict travel to 5 kilometers from home. Thank you.
All Victorians remember the 5 kilometres. It doesn't seem that long ago, really, but holy cow, that was a tough time here. Thank you, Richard. No, I already done that. Yes. Thank you, Richard, Shady, Stuart, Sandra, Gayelene, Rananda, and Lynette. I feel like I know you all so well, and through your beautiful pieces tonight, I've been really moved to see you perform them. We head into our next group of videos, starting with A Luxurious Staycation in Resort by Scott Patrick Mitchell. Next, we have The Freedom of a Swim in The Light Remembered by Catherine Moffat, winner of the Hunter category of the Joanne Burns Award. The Stresses of Being Forced to Run from Home in Fleeing Hurricane Ida by Jonathan Penton. And The Travelling and Winding Fonts of Language in Cursive by the amazing Dominique Hecq, who I see here in my little gallery. We complete this group with The Sensory Deprivation of COVID Isolation in This Is Your Captain by Arna Radovich. Unexpected Interactions with Fellow Passenger in Gone, Absconded, Escaped, Disappeared by the incomparable Penelope Layland, who is winner of the national category of the Joanne Burns Award. And finishing up with The Less Than Willing Journeys of Female Convicts in 180 by Brenda Proudfoot. Pretty excited for this batch. Roll the tape.
Hello, Scott Patrick Mitchell here on Wajak Nunga Buja. Always was, always will be. Today I am reading from the new Spineless Wonders anthology Travel, and I will be reading my piece Resort. I hear it's sunny in the lounge this time of year. We don slippers and dressing gowns, grab coffee on the way, bask in sofa's morning glow. For lunch, we dress in trackies and singlets. Dine from the luminous mouth of a cafe in the kitchen. We eat leftovers from the fridge. You go to fetch the mail. When you return, you show me photos of all the flowers you have seen in our faraway front garden. We spend the afternoon holed up in the cute library at the back of the house. The shelves in our study bristle and bloom with books. We read to each other. At dinner time, we make our way outside to a gazebo, switch on the fairy lights, drink wine. The sun sets to reveal a sky infinite with pinpricks of places other than here. We return to our hotel room, the bed we call cinema, the bed we call gondola on Canal of Dreams. We check the news. Lockdown has been extended. Another fortnight inside this house. We make plans for tomorrow. You promise me a picnic on the front lawn. Excited, I can hardly sleep, unsure if my restlessness is actually ennui. Thank you.
The Light Remembered Perched on the edge of the surf pool, he unstraps his leg, puts it aside, tenderly unwraps his stump, dives, swims laps, up, down. Underwater, the world is green and sand, the light a remembered moment. Sunlight is skewed, slanted, tastes of salt. He wears a seaweed wreath, pauses to watch a fish flick from the water, hauls himself back from the ocean. On land he sprawls, basking between cement and sun, slumbers amongst leathered, weathered walrus men, cradles his head in the gentle swing of his spring steel leg.
Hello, this piece is called Fleeing Hurricane Ida, and it's about exactly that. Hurricane Ida hit South Louisiana in August of 2021 and hit New Orleans on the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. It devastated the city pretty bad and really devastated the surrounding areas. Fleeing Hurricane Ida. 36 hours to landfall. The rural roads are almost empty, but Kapoor black. Highways with a posted speed of 70 miles per hour turn sharply without warning. Each time I brake, you startle awake. The gas stations, empty of fuel, are closed and we both have to pee. The cat cries steadily for 4 hours. The radio cuts out and around to various saccharine stations. The rural drivers, more accustomed to these low ways, zip past us with unnerving buzz. But this is not our first time on this trek. It will not be the last time we run away. We'll stay and run and stay until there's nothing to run from. Thank you.
Cursive. I hate times Roman. Love, chance recursive. Love Charles. Love gallivanting around the world. Chance recursive captures how the hand runs across the page. How letters get excited at the beginning of a piece, how they flourish in movement. Cursive lids the light, echoes mind chambers and smells of honeysuckle. It gives body to sans serif. Chance recursive takes off like writing, in which the letters are joined and formed rapidly without lifting the nib of your pen. From the French cursive, from the medieval Latin cursivus, from the Latin cursus, all running words. Even the past participle currere, meaning to run, from the Indo-European root kers, that always reminds me what a curse a running hand is. Chance recursive is a marathon runner. It is tall and lean. It lives vertically, though it does embrace the wind in its course. It thrives on air, blood and water, seeds and nuts, breeds dream begotten strokes, forms, letters. See how they run away from times Roman. This was Dominique Hecq. Thank you.
On arrival in Shanghai, they follow the nose-in guidance system, set the park brake, shut down the engines. When all the procedural chatter is done, he leans back in his seat, pulls off his headphones, takes a breath. It's been a long flight. A minder, mummified in PPE from head to toe, meets them on the aero bridge, escorts the crew through a terminal jewelled with crystals of sanitizer and white, formless figures. His bag vigorously treated to a cloud of chemical mist. At the hotel, locked in his room, food arrives on a tray, delivered by a ghost. The only sound when he opens the door is of feet scuffling away down the long hall. Dinner comes in 2 layers of plastic, and whatever it is, it's hard to recognise. He glances through the window at a scene bleached of colour, a terminal meld of sky and concrete. Gone are the days of meeting up at the bar. Lost is the lubrication that kept the grind of loneliness at bay. Instead, for 39 hours, he stares at 4 walls, scrolls robotically through hundreds of channels in Mandarin, bores himself into a Netflix stupor.
Gone, absconded, escaped, disappeared. Summoned from slumber by the tinkle of the breakfast trolley somewhere ahead in business class, Cynthia immediately saw that the man in the window seat beside her was dead, wide-eyed, empurpled with surprise. Cynthia touched the button to summon the cabin crew. "I'm a doctor," Cynthia calmly addressed the attendant's widening eyes. Her boarding pass, doubling as a bookmark in her lap, confirmed it. So too her name, heading Chapter 3, though the attendant could not know that. "If you could," the attendant gestured. Cynthia unclipped her seatbelt, reached, rested fingertips on the dead man's chill, moist neck. "Indications of homeotolution," she murmured, glancing at the attendant. "Abit, abscessit, eversit, eripit," each pronouncement accompanied by interrogative dabs upon the dead man's jaw, lips, temple, lids. There seemed little else to say. A blanket was efficiently arranged, the seatbelt rebuckled above the swaddle. Cynthia brushed away the offer of another seat. After all, the plane had begun its descent, and she was only part-way through a rival academic's chapter on Virgil's Georgics. Her own chapter on case rhyme was more prominently placed, she reflected complacently, reaching for the reading light.
Hi, my name's Brenda Proudfoot, and my story is called 180. April Fool's Day, 1841. 24 Marys, a score of Elizabeths, several Margarets, Sarahs and Janes. They're part of a consignment of 180 disgraced women, drawn from the far reaches of Britain and herded on board the Raja, bound for Van Diemen's Land. Matron Kezia Hayter of the Millbank Penitentiary divvies up the Quakers' benevolent gift. Yards of cotton material, scissors, needles and thread, designed to keep the women meek and occupied during their 105-day voyage. Nearly 3,000 pieces of cotton fabric are stitched together to form an enormous quilt, marked by the pricked fingers of convicts. 7 red and green chintz birds swoop on the delicate garland of flowers embroidered on the central panel. Dozens of squares and triangles form intricate patchwork borders. The precision of seamstresses, the faltering stitches of amateurs, distracted by a sailor or the swell of the sea. Who were these women? Betsy? Grace? Caroline? Their quilt is a mysterious remnant of convict history, a rare artefact in the National Gallery of Australia, its journey through the centuries unknown. This testament to the artistry and humanity of a silenced underclass speaks to us through a time warp of 180 years.
Another brilliant batch of videos. I have to say, like Moya, I recognize the Netflix stupor. I have been known to sit for so long. You know, when that little thing comes up that goes, "Are you still watching? Can you push a button to show you're still here?" Yeah, I'm always still there and have to push the button. But I do like a bit of Netflix stupor. They were amazing. Thank you to Scott Patrick, Catherine, Jonathan, Dominique, Arna, Penelope, and Brenda for your amazing works and videos. Okay, so we're on to our final group. It seems kind of unfair that the night has passed so quickly with so many great things to watch and to listen to. So the final event is Memories of Child Car Trips in Ghost Forest by Beth Spencer, an adrenaline-spiked cycle ride into town in A Spokesman's Lament by Tony Barrett, The Fear of Falling and Raining Meat in Void Thoughts by Alison Miller, excellent Wi-Fi and romantic rats in I Don't Normally Leave Reviews for My Airbnb Hosts, but since they insisted by Dominic Symes, The Unexpected Loss of Home in Matilda by Moya Costello, Heartbroken Expatriation in Hitched by Holly Iglesias, Memories of Childhood Camps and Lost Time in The Lookout by Christine Howe, and finally, to finish it all off, the fittingly named Putting the Sun to Bed by Kathleen Bleakley, One Last Sunrise and One Last Embrace. So Spineless Wonders family, this is the last batch. Enjoy. Roll the tape.
Hi, my name's Beth Spencer, and I'll be reading today from this gorgeous little book. And I'm zooming in from Guringai country on the central coast of New South Wales, which is also associated with the Darkinjung Land Council. And this piece is called Ghost Forests, and it's set in the 1960s, and I wish we'd known better back then, but we didn't. Ghost Forests. The car is a capsule containing a family, insulating it from the outside while propelling it forward into the wide world. If we got to visit a roadhouse, those dream homes where you can order anything off the menu, our feet barely touched the ground. Mostly it was tip-top sandwiches on the bonnet of the Holden with a thermos and Cotti's cordial in plastic mugs. Sometimes we'd stop in a milk bar, 8 banana milkshakes, the owner scuttling to gather enough metal tumblers. Finished, Dad would ask, and I'd pass mine over and he'd drain it in a gulp. Hours of driving through endless spare paddocks. Then swinging off the Western Highway to the Sisters Rocks to check that our names were still tucked down low on one of the tours. Trust British paints? Sure can. Mum would speed to make up time while Dad napped in the back, with the rest of us squished over and 2 lucky ones up the front. The faint smell of sick. There was always someone. Singing, "There are rats, rats as big as alley cats in the store. Just bring yourselves," the aunts would say, but the boot was always packed with baggage.
A Spokesman's Lament. I came across the following headline in a cycling magazine. Why cycling is good for weight loss, fitness, legs, and mind. Helmet, gloves, trouser clips, high-vis jacket, sunglasses, lights back and front, flashing, pump, backpack, and I'm off, jubilantly hurtling down the driveway in my flimsy armour, down the frosty Carline street, the shimmering Derwent in view, through the blood-and-boned rose garden, sharp right for the bridge, rather than underpass. I plunge into the seething CBE, a cauldron of carbon monoxide, Grim pedestrians keep their heads down. Cars jockey for position. I feel the heat of sweating engines, the hiss of brakes, the impatient growl, the rev, the green light roar. By way of protection, I sing to myself, 1.5 metres, mate, 1.5, hoping it will calm me. But I gesticulate angrily when an SUV squeezes me into the gutter. Jaywalkers in telephonic oblivion, sudden holes in the road, car doors flung open carelessly, P-platers veering blithely across my path, a vindictive curse hurled from an open window. All play games with my furious heart. But the wheels keep going, round and round. I arrive at work, lungs and calves aching, a sweaty fugitive, and tuck into a stress-quelling torta caprese from my favourite pasticceria.
Vulovic holds the record for surviving the highest fall without a parachute, a flight attendant who made it 10,160 metres and landed in pine and snow, peanuts still balanced on the tiny plastic tray. No, that part is a joke, but what isn't is the Kentucky meat shower, March 3rd, 1876, which is as it sounds, though whether it was mutton or venison, a human infant or the cartilage of a horse, no one is entirely sure. Locals blamed the buzzards, a group disgorgement over the bluegrass state, home of moonshine, tobacco, and large hungry birds. I asked you once what would happen if I too fell from that bridge or this plane, or tumbled over the ledge on that hike you made me take, through death-trap, wild dog-pocked mountains disguised as romance, as adventure, as delight. The French call it l'appel du vide, the impulse to hurl oneself into the void, the call of nothingness that echoes in the unknown spaces of the reckless brain. 7 miles or 42,000 feet or 13,000 metres does not seem so far, but I ask if you remember the dress, the vintage one, in which to bury what remains.
I don't normally leave reviews for my Airbnb hosts, but since they insisted. The Wi-Fi exceeded expectations. And now I'm stuck for anything else to say. I'm trying to write this review before checking out, sitting on a bamboo mat on a floor in Yogyakarta. I could have spent all night kissing the smog from your mouth and spitting it back into the brown river, but instead we lulled the rats to sleep with our whispered suspicions, utterly in awe of their roof-shattering romantic aggressions, infinitely better suited to the conditions. Maybe it was just karma biting us back for lying to our host when we told her it was our honeymoon, but we didn't want to be disturbed and were kind of hoping that we'd get a discount. Plus, we knew we'd be leaving soon and couldn't have anticipated she'd ask to see our wedding photos. So we stayed up, unsleeping, to watch each other sweat above the sheets in this tiny bedroom without a mosquito net or an air conditioner. But I guess it's best not to mention that. The teak furniture was beautiful, and it was.
Matilda. Tilda found herself unexpectedly and inconsolably nomadic. She had thought of herself as a home girl, the girl who loved coming home. She travelled for work. Some jobs were like that. They required you to be mobile. They required you to be workhorses. In the world at large, there were travellers who willingly left home and refugees who fearfully lost home. There were whole land sites being taken over by rising water, by usurping oceans. In the Pacific, the Indian, land edges were rapidly disappearing. Soft edges were falling away as the oceanic waters lapped thirstily, siren-like in their desiring grasp, in their liquid tug and pull. Populated islands were going under.
amid war and drought, famine, fire and flood. Whole nations were migrating. Matilda. As a child, Matilda pondered her name, an eccentric sobriquet, a curiosity. In her country's context, Australia, Matilda meant swaggy, carrying one's sleeping arrangements, but really all of one's belongings on the road. So Tilda flew off the beaten track, a misfired arrow. She was bound for journeying, wandering off, losing her way and having to find it again. As an anthropogenic being, she would have to face nomadism as an adaptation to change.
The title of my poem is Hitched, and it opens with this epigraph by Stephanie Strickland. It is a work of images, difficult and bare, very slow, like falling in love. They said it was treason to leave the country, though they also said, love it or leave it. America, we loved it by leaving it. Bereft, we left, worked over by the work of images. Burning flag, burning cities, burning girl, running through a rice paddy toward the camera. That heap of images left stashed away in closets along with school rings and trinkets and letters bound in ribbon until language itself faded into silence. We learned a new vocabulary from the signs on the walls and doors of Zaragoza. Carnicería, peligro, policía, ayuntamiento, casa de huéspedes, carretera de Extremadura. Extremadura, the word itself, a dry, rocky crag of sound and meaning. One of us hearing banishment, defeat, the other mystery and initiation. Which one of us would set foot to the blacktop first and stick out a thumb to catch a ride proved to be the biggest surprise of all.
The lookout. Years ago, we camped halfway up the mountain on a wooden lookout that no longer exists. Remember? The five of us carried sleeping bags and torches through the bush, stumbling over roots and stones until we reached the platform perched on the mountain's dark flank. If we'd jumped or leaned too far out over the railings, we would have landed in a scratch of half-dead lantana. Instead, we squashed together on the slats for warmth, a tangle of elbows, laughter, beanies, knees. As we slept, cargo ships slunk through the night, and the city sprouted new subdivisions, identikit houses, whole manicured suburbs emerging from the coal wash. When we woke, years later, in the spitting rain, the lookout was gone. We had each crumbled down the slope, half asleep. You landed in Germany, remember? And his alarm went off in the United States. What I would give for the dig of your elbow now, the warmth of his laughter in my ear, and the lookout floating over the lantana like a sentinel, unravelling the ephemeral.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Bleakley, and this is my piece, Putting the Sun to Bed. After viewing André Cortez's photograph, Coucher de Soleil, Hungary, 1917, waking in our bed, middle of night, large space, draw bedding around me. Our balcony door opens up to sky, glimpse of sea. In the morning I'll visit, you'll be sitting up in bed. Your smile will greet me at the door. Waking in a bed folded out from a big purple chair. Reach across, take your hand. Have you got your bedding sorted, you ask? Yes, let's have a sleepover. Wearing our star PJs, you in my purple top, me in your blue pants. Waking. Would you like a cuddle? You hold your arms out. We stay together, head on my shoulder. You sleep deeply now in your little bed, a rowboat, almost still, just ripples of movement, yours or mine. Lake Illawarra and beyond the entrance to ocean through your window. Just days before, we watched the lake's pelicans waddle, glide, paddle, fly. You said, my greatest wish is for your happiness. Now nurses and I gently wash you. I anoint you with lavender balm. They leave. Beloved circle, take your hands. Sun streams in, family leave us entwined. Head on your chest, hearing only my heart. Waking at dawn, custodian of your quiet heart.
Amazing. And I have my cat who wanted to join in as my snuggle buddy. He's very vocal. So I hope you've all got your fur children near you. Oh, you're a pain. Look at you. I want to thank everyone in that last reel. So Beth, Tony, Alison, Dominique, Moya, Holly, Christine and Kathleen for your videos and for your excellent works. That's it for today's event, or this evening, I guess, event. I'd like to thank all of you for coming today. I kind of feel like I have a big Spineless Wonders family that just loves celebrating fantastic microlit and love seeing it come to life on the screen. So I'm really kind of proud and excited to be part of this more extensive family of literature. I'd like to thank everyone who made the event possible. You can find the full travel anthology from Spineless Wonders. I believe there's going to be a link in the chat. I want to thank everyone who's actually been commenting on the chat. There's nothing more beautiful than reading lovely comments about what you're viewing. And a shout out to Moya Costello, who I think commented on everybody's. That's a really beautiful thing to do. So thank you so much. I hope you had a lovely evening. We look forward to seeing you at the last Snuggle Up with Spineless Wonders event, Ecliptical, on Thursday, the 16th of June. So have a lovely night and thanks so much for sharing your evening with us. See you next time. Mwah.